Hello and welcome to Beyond the Plastic. My name is Leon Odenbrett. I am here today to talk to you about TI4 and Arborec, especially in POK. And I'm going to go through and talk about how they've been upgraded and why they're actually a pretty good race now, and also about how to play them to the best, in my opinion. So let's go right to the sheet and start looking at Arborec. So the Arborec, as you can see, has only one carrier, one cruiser, a couple fighters, some infantry. The thing that everybody complains about with the Arborec is that they only have one carrier. And with POK, that's been resolved, and I'll show you why. Their starting technology is Mage in Tech, or Mage in Defense Grid, and this helps you with creating and handling PDSs. And you notice you start with the PDS. The Arborec have been made into a very defensive unit, and they're actually pretty good at being defensive. Their planet is a 3-2, which isn't a bad one, isn't a great one. It'd be nice if I started out with 4, but we'll live with what we have. You get 3 commodities and for trade, so that's pretty good. Then we're going to come down here to faction, mitosis. This is the easiest thing in the world to forget. If you have to, write yourself a note, put a sticky on it. I don't care. Remember to use this every time, because at the start of the status phase, you may place one infantry from your reinforcements onto any planet you control. And that is a free production. That's free everything. This is pretty awesome. Your faction node is stymie. To be honest, it's pretty worthless. You can give it to another player, and another player can say, hey, when somebody else it activates your system, you can have them activate another system. To me, it's pretty worthless. The only time it'd be worth it is towards the end of the game, and if it's at the end of the game, you don't want to be giving it to somebody. So stymie is just pretty bad all the way around. Faction technologies. Bioplasmosis. Bioplasmosis is it's not good. You can just readjust your infantry however you want to, but it's just, for 2 green, it's not worth it. If it was 1 green, I would consider it. 2 green, no way. Faction. Litany Warriors. Targets 2 green, and it's pretty solid. When you get to the unit 2 here, you can roll a dice, and it's 50-50 chance that you get to put one of your warriors that got killed back on your home planet. Pretty solid. The flagship sucks. Plain ass. Sucks. After you activate the system, you may produce up to 5 units in the system. Well, you have to activate the system that the ship is in, and then you can produce 5 units. It's just not worth it. If it could have a production of 5 and then be a normal ship, it'd be okay, but it's after you activate the system, which is pretty bad. The next one is the mech, which is Litany Behemoth. This one here is actually pretty good. It has sustained damage, it has production 2, it's a planetary shield, but essentially whenever you use mitosis, you can replace one of your infantry with 1 mech. Pretty freaking solid. I really like this. Once again, remember to use mitosis. The next one is the leaders. This one here is really, really cool. Your agent, it allows you to change a player's non-fighter ship into any other ship that costs up to 2 more. Remember how I told you we were going to fix the cruiser problem and not have 2 carriers? This is how we're going to do it. The commander, once you have 12 ground forces, after another person activates a system of yours, you can produce in it. That's pretty cool, because if you got War Sun's research, somebody activates your system, you just plop a War Sun on it, if you have the ability to produce it. But it's pretty cool. Their hero is lackluster at best. You can produce any number of units in a system. So if you take Mechatol, it's towards the end of the game, you can load up Mechatol as soon as you take Mechatol. So it's okay, but it's not great. So let me kind of run through here real quick why it's so important to do things in a specific order. The first thing that you got to remember is as soon as possible, get Sarween tools and try not to move your troops without it. If you have to, you have to, but you try not to. So the first stall that you can do in the first turn is to use your agent. Turn your cruiser into a carrier. Hopefully somebody pulls off trade and you have one more trade good, so you have 3 production. That's the goal. And if you can get 1 trade good, if you can get 1 more, when the person pops technology, you get Sarween tools right away. Sarween tools. How many times am I going to say that? As many times as it takes. Sarween tools is super, super important. So you next turn you were able to get Sarween tools. You maybe have a couple trade goods. Who cares? The point is you got Sarween tools. Because now your second move is to take a carrier, a couple troops, and a fighter. Now, notice on the sheet, it says activate system, space battle, ground battle, claim planet, produce. So, I activated the system. I took planet. Now I can produce. And since I have Sarween tools, guess what? I now got those troops. You activate the next system. Same idea. And produce. And then at the end of your turn, mitosis. Put it something there. Now, the second round and third round, you're going to continue to repeat this over and over and over again, producing as many troops as possible for free. While that's occurring, you're spending some money on technology. You now have a red. You also have a yellow. What is it that you're going to get next? Now, there's 2 different paths, in my opinion, to go down. If you take a green, you take and get your extra cards, and you also start upgrading your cruisers and go to Cruiser 2, and then also go to Letni Warrior 2. Having that combination is pretty solid, because when you can start creating destroyers at 1, upgrading them to cruisers. You can start, playing cruisers and going and upgrading them to dreadnoughts. But the most important thing in this is that this here is getting your Letni Warriors out. There's a second way to do it. If your second round you do AIDI, you then create Destroyer 2 and War Sons. Destroyer 2 and War Sons are pretty awesome together. And to be honest, and I forgot to add this right in the beginning, your very first, after you get red and yellow, is to get PDS 2, so you can start creating your PDS network to protect yourself. All this is pretty much free. Now, if you do the War Sun and Destroyer 2, you're fairly early on in the game. This is going to scare the bejesus out of anybody, because the destroyers now are shooting 3 dice at 6 at the fighters for anti-fighter barrage. And then the War Sun is shooting 3 dice at 3 no matter what. Guys, think about it. You're keeping the fighters at bay. You're keeping this moving forward. So, and with AIDI, you can create a War Sun and Destroyer 2 immediately. You can start creating, you can even create a cruiser if you really wanted to. So, I mean, you're sitting in the path, or in the driver's seat when you take this strategy. Now, once again, you can either go, to me it breaks down to Letni Warrior and Cruisers, or PDS War Sun and Destroyers. I shouldn't say it that way. I should say PDS, or Destroyers and War Suns, Cruisers and Letnev. but you're going to have the PDS2 no matter what. Hey, this is Leon from Beyond the Plastic. I am here to say, hey, thank you guys for watching. I wanted to let you know about the Arborec. They're actually a pretty awesome race. You have to play them right, but they are awesome, and they can play in a slice that's deprived of systems. They're pretty good at it. So, till next time, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.